Ready?
Yeah.
All right. All right, here we go. Buds of Plenty, episode 2. We're back. Set's a little bit different because I'm not in Indy. I am back in Salem, the home grounds, the homeland, whatever you want to call it, in the bedroom of Mr. Shane Loughran. How you doing, friend?
How you doing, bud? How you doing?
Doing great. So, as you can see, we've been plugging drinks. Last week was Tow Yard's Horsepower. This week we're going to be trying something different. No beer, because Shane's not a beer drinker.
Sorry, guys.
But I have with us handcrafted beverages. Please do. Shane.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
A Mountain Dew man.
I'm a Mountain Dew aficionado, if I do say so myself.
So basically, this is the syrup for like Cokes.
Right.
So what you'll do, pour it in a measuring cup, about 2 ounces. This is not a measuring cup, we're winging it.
This is actually going to be a 2-hour cooking show.
Oh. So you add that to your cup.
It's probably like 6 ounces.
Well, this is equal to 6 ounces. And then we have some Canada Dry Club Soda, also known as carbonated water.
There's another plug. Name brand right there.
Big business, ain't about that. But this time, for small business, we got to plug it. So we'll do a cup and a quarter of that. So, Shane, while I'm making our beverages, you want to go ahead and tell us about what you currently have been up to.
Okay, well, big video game guy, so just gonna go at what I have been playing for about the last 6 weeks, almost nonstop, and that would be Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, 3, not 2.
Great game, great franchise, really. I would highly recommend anyone to at least try it out. It's easily the most accessible in the entire franchise, going back Demon Souls.
3 is.
Yeah, I would say for sure. It's still a good challenge. There's some problems with it, not gonna lie. A lot of them are online. Like, there's some broken things, but that kind of always happens with a From Software game, so you just gotta hope that they fix that in the future. But right now, for me, it'd be my game of the year. Like, hands down. Been playing it so much.
My question is, what else do you think is in that contention? Because, like, I know that, like, a lot of people are saying Uncharted 4.
Right, yeah, right now, I would say Uncharted 4 would be in contingent. I would say that games that haven't came out yet could definitely be.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's just how.
Like, I wouldn't. I don't think many games at this point in the year have come out that are gonna be in the running for Game of the Year. But definitely Uncharted 4, like you said. Dark Souls 3 definitely could be. I don't know. What else? Do you think anything else? I don't really think of anything.
And it all depends on what does come out, because if Final Fantasy 15 comes out, that is...
Well, it's supposed to.
No Man's Sky.
Got delayed.
But it's still
this
August,
year. Yeah.
And then...
Which we could talk forever about that.
Yeah, and I really don't want to get into it until it actually comes out.
I'll just say, at the moment, I'm skeptical.
I think it's still going to be phenomenal.
It's so ambitious that I'm not sure if it will exactly work.
I think those are some of the big ones. I think Final Fantasy 15 has the potential to be one of the best games.
Last Guardian. That just got supposedly confirmed for 2016.
And if it does, that's me getting a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
As soon as it comes out. All right, beverages are done.
Let's try this.
Mix it up a little bit. I added some soda to the top. Ooh.
Oh, that's natural. That is grade A stuff.
And it's all natural sweeteners as well. Ingredients are listed on it. Pure cane sugar. So that's completely different than like the fructose corn syrup.
Yeah.
So it's a cool plug. You can get a lot of places around Indy. The first place I had it was the Central Public Library.
Right.
They have a kiosk where you can buy some.
Oh, that's good.
Phenomenal. And he's got 12 flavors, including grapefruit. I know. So that one I was a little skeptical, but
we should try that sometime.
And that's super solid.
Yeah, and that's good stuff.
And the cool thing about it is, like, if you want more flavor, add more flavor. If you want more fizz, add more fizz.
Right.
So, like, to top it off, I can just add a little bit more Add a little bit more Canada Dry.
Oh, give me some of that. Oh, that'll do good.
And so we can do that. And it's nice. It's different, and it saves you a little money too.
I would definitely say it's refreshing.
Compared to, especially, it's different from like your normal like big business soft drinks.
Right. And the big thing is, it's from a small business.
Yeah.
You're buying from a small business. You're giving them money. You're showing them support.
Mm-hmm. Especially here in Indiana. Got a lot of good small businesses. Local towns here like Salem have a lot of good restaurants. Like, we call it Andy's, but the Chinese restaurant.
Zhang's Palace.
Everyone's got some great... Every city has, their good local Chinese restaurants. We've got H&R, which is some of the best donuts.
Tom Crean loves it.
Tom Crean loves it.
Shout out to H&R.
We're not big Hoosiers
fans.
Let's
not really talk about that.
But Tom Crean, that's a respectable, well-known guy.
Yeah.
So for him to throw that endorsement out there, that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
So with this being Buds of Plenty, the focus isn't on me. I'm just the host. The focus is on our guests. And, with Shane being here, me being here in Shane's home, him opening up his home for, us to be here, I want to know, what do you want to talk about? We've got a list of topics, but I think he's carrying the reins right now. I'm just the horse.
Okay, I think right now, I forgot to mention current game that I'm playing. Just started playing it a couple days ago. Overwatch. Big game, massive debut, basically. Because I'm not sure if you saw, but it crashed Reddit.
Yeah.
Multiple times because there are so many people that are getting on Overwatch Reddit to watch highlights, which that's like the big thing.
Is like the top plays.
Yeah, there's a thing called Play the Game, and it's so easy with anything basically now with PS4 or PC to record your latest gameplay, and then all you have to do is record the play of the game, upload it, and everyone can see what the play of the game was.
And doesn't PlayStation have a feature to where you can instantly upload?
Yeah, instantly upload the last 15-20 minutes that you play. I don't remember exactly what the number is, but that's always been a really cool feature, especially if something weird happens and you're like, man, I gotta put that up. But Overwatch, fantastic. If you're familiar with TF2, which I'll be honest, I didn't really play a whole lot of it, but it's like TF2, except
Team Fortress 2.
Yeah,
Avery and I talked about it last week in our segment about Blizzard games.
It's like that, but there's more characters. At the moment there's less content, but I'm not really skeptical about that. I think that Blizzard's done a good job with maintaining their big popular game, so I don't have any worries that they're gonna drop the content or anything like that. But it's like Team Fortress 2 with more characters, and I think the characters have so much personality. That's the big thing. All the characters are so cool, and they have these awesome origin stories, and it just all kind of fits together in a perfect balance.
A lot of people almost describe it as like a MOBA, which is like an arena game similar to Heroes, like we talked about last week in League of Legends. It kind of has that MOBA feel, but in a first-person shooter because it's the heroes are so different. The heroes counter each other, and what's different is sort of like Team Fortress 2. You can switch what hero you pick in the middle, so you're adapting to their comp.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
They're adapting to your comp, and it's a back and forth game instead of it just being like a Counter-Strike game where you're just like, I'm adapting to their play style, or a League of Legends game where you're adapting to their comp, or their composition in the middle of their draft. So that's different in that aspect.
Yeah. There's so much strategy, I think, that goes into the team building. Right now, there's a couple OP characters out there. I'm looking at you, Lucio. But otherwise, I think it's pretty well balanced. And anyone can be good with anyone, basically. And you can build, a whole team of tanks if you want. And you probably could still win if you were really good. But the team building strategy is there. The choke point strategy is there. Basically, everything you could want in what we thought Overwatch would be, and it's delivered, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people were saying in the original beta was that you can't just specifically main a single character.
Right.
It's you got to be a jack of some trades.
You got to be able to play a couple different roles and characters, and just you definitely have to be able to switch it up on the run, because for any given moment, you could even Lucio, you could run into a bad matchup with him, and then it could destroy your entire team because you just lost your whole support. So you have to switch to someone else. So I think it really brings out some of the biggest strategy we've seen in recent history, honestly.
Probably with the first person shooter game,
right?
Least. I think it's, you talk about matchups and knowing which ones are bad. Some people, they're like, I'm gonna try and true this main, and I'm gonna run with that no matter what, and that'll end up hurting you super bad in the end. So it's cool that they're not forcing it, but it's a natural thing that's happening with the game.
I totally agree.
So those are the games that you're playing.
And Rocket League.
Oh yeah, you're still
big time on Rocket League. There's not much to say about it. If you haven't played it, you need to. Basically, you control RV cars from your point of view, and there's a giant soccer ball that you have to score, and you can fly.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard to get top level. There's some guys out there that are just incredible. But it's super fun.
It's an easy, accessible game. Whereas, like you talk about Overwatch, Overwatch has some accessibility, but you still have to have a shooter background.
Yeah.
If you understand soccer or sports in general, or
just teamwork, team management,
and even at the higher level, if you understand like team rotations, you talk about in basketball, you have like a weave offense where like you're moving all the time. You can get that with the defenses and the offensive schemes that you get in a team.
Absolutely.
With and Rocket League.
And as easy, accessible that it is, it has such a high skill ceiling. Like, just for example, there's two guys, shout outs. Kronovi, who he just won, his team just won, basically because he's that good. Mm-hmm. And then there's another guy with a great name, Marky Doodah. Look him up.
Ooh, that tag.
That's a great
that tag is beautiful.
Great tag.
Almost as good as your tag, McRib.
Oh, well, I hate to brag, but it's a little better. But yeah, if you haven't looked into Rocket League, I would definitely suggest all the games that we mentioned: Dark Souls 3, Overwatch, Rocket League. Give them a try. They're all totally different. They're all super solid, great games, in my opinion.
That makes me want to discuss. What do you think of like modern gaming compared to like past gaming? Where do you think the direction is going compared to past gaming?
It's a good question. We've seen such a big, like, first-person shooters have taken over the past 6-7 years with COD, Borderlands, Battlefield, Tom Clancy's The Division, Overwatch, on and on you could go. Destiny, which I hate. You could go on and on. But I think it'll kind of keep trending, and as long as people want to play those games and are willing to dole out the money, then there's no reason for people to stop, for developers to stop making those. But there's a good variety of games on the market. There's tons of action games, tons of RPG games. Well, quite a few RPG games. RPG games have dwindled down a little bit.
Same with platformers.
And platformers,
I think platformers are more of a nostalgia feeling. Like
right.
You look at games like game I was playing through recently, Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is
right.
A fantastic game, and it, with the new DLC that was free. Well, it's newer. It was in October. Mm-hmm. But playing through that, it was just like, this is so cool. It makes me feel like I'm playing an NES game. So,
but I guess the big thing to talk about with the future would be virtual reality. Because that's going to be the sticking points at E3 for Microsoft and Sony. Personally, I'm not big on it.
I'll get sick.
Yeah, I don't really see the point. I don't think it would make it any more personal than a great game already could be. Like Last of Us, for example. It doesn't get more like you're on. You're just in the moment. You're feeling what the other characters are feeling. So I don't really see how they can make a story-driven game VR that much better.
Yeah, because I mean, like you look at story-driven games like Gone Home. Gone Home was a fully story-driven game, first person, and you do that with VR, and all you're doing is looking. It's the same first-person vision, but
right.
on your eyes instead of on a TV.
I'm not gonna sit and act like VR is not gonna have a big future, because in some way it's going to, whether it might not be video games at all, because they've said they're going to use it for sports and for military and for hospitals, but I'm not sold on the gaming. I'm not sure if gamers want it that much.
There's going to be a future. I think there's a want in what it could be.
Right.
Like
the potential of
it. But realizing it is going to be hard. I mean, like, you look at the progression and games look super real now. And I mean, that's a cool thing, but like how much more real do we can we make it?
How much more can you get it? Exactly.
And then once you get to that point, what's the point of doing what's the point in I had someone that was like, yeah, you could do boxing VR and like actually do the maneuvers and stuff. I'm like, then you're not boxing.
Yeah.
Like you could actually
be boxing.
Be boxing and like tone your body and help yourself. And he was like, oh, then you don't have to take a punch. And I'm like, then you're just shortchanging yourself of that experience. Same with basketball. If they made like 2K20 and they made it in a first person view, then you're just shortchanging yourself of the experience of having the ability to play basketball. You just have the ability to VR.
Yeah, you might as well just go outside and shoot some hoops.
Shouts to
Shaq.
Shaq is our favorite.
One of our legendary idols, I would have to say.
I still think one of our favorite moments is when was it you and I and JD Blevins? Was that who was in the backseat when we first got?
Oh yes, he was. Shout out to JD.
JD Blevins. What a shout out! Did not expect that. But we went to Friday Night on the Square, which is a celebration that we have post. It's just a random Friday, isn't it?
It's once in Friday in the summer, and then once for like Old Settlers Day.
Yeah,
in the fall.
So it's like they basically just shut down the Salem Square, and all the businesses stay open, so people walk around and go to the businesses. And we went to a used shop called Nearly New.
Yep.
And
which is not in business anymore, unfortunately.
Shout outs to them used to be in business.
You were always good to us,
because you had what I consider one of the greatest rap albums of all time.
I would have to agree with that.
Gold album. I mean, you can't compete with the numbers.
You can't deny the basics.
Shaq Fu The Return, named in part to his legendary video game.
I would never recommend playing that video game, if I'm being honest.
But honestly, it's not that bad of a rap album. I've seen some people.
I legitimately enjoy that album every time we listen to it.
Because also it's funny.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Because knowing Shaq raps is just like the funniest thing ever. But and the way he does it, like his flow is so like Shaq.
I'm like Paduki, warriors just like Suzuki.
Like that is not how normal people rap. But Shaq is his own, like...
He knows what he wants to be. He knows what he wants to do.
He's a character. And he's always been himself. I mean, like, even when he went through that phase where he wanted to be a cop.
Oh, yeah. And a teacher. Forget about that phase.
And he, like...
Actually, he may have gotten his degree to be a teacher. I'm not sure on that. We'd have to fact check that.
Yeah. I know he's got some degrees.
Yeah.
And then he also... I mean, he has... I think someday he may win an Emmy.
It's possible.
Because, Barkley's won one. I think Shaq is just
it's definitely possible. I like Shaq better.
Shaq, they both have, like, cool opinions. I think that quartet is of those four.
Ernie tying it all together.
Kenny is, like, he's kind of the loudmouth.
Kind of the loudmouth, but also kind of the voice of reason when Shaq and Barkley go at it.
Because they're just like the sides of the table.
I think that's why they have them on separate ends, so they don't like actually get in fist fights or something like that.
Yeah. So I think like they're a great example of what like TV, sports TV especially, could be.
Yeah.
'Cause I think like we've seen a phase where ESPN is a little
like ESPN like coverage after games is so much worse than TNT.
And CBS is with TNT, but CBS has great, like, Greg Gumbel.
Oh, I love Greg.
Yeah.
Greg's the man.
So, and I think now with NBC picking up Tirico,
that hurts ESPN.
A lot,
like
'cause
big time.
Tarico, he does radio stuff. Tarico's not afraid to do what needs to be done. Tarico, like, will do a radio broadcast, and it'll still be the ESPN top quality, because Tarico is maybe the best voice on mic, period.
Absolutely.
Maybe
I would agree.
Maybe the best, he's so reasonable and can cover everything. He's covered, I've seen him been in games where he's covered college basketball, covers NBA, covers NFL, he covered Monday Night Football for years. I think he's done golf before, too.
Probably. And the fact that he
he's
can
done tennis.
work with John Gruden without cracking up like 100% of the time, that speaks volumes to the professional that he is.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that really helps NBC and massively hurts ESPN, because who do they now pair with Gruden? Had they announced?
Yeah, they did. He did college football and basketball. I forget.
Herb Street?
No, I forget.
I wish
exactly
it was Herb Street.
Who it was.
Herb Street is really good
he's
too.
color. Herb Street's color commentary.
But Herb Street is amazing.
Yeah,
too.
I like Herb Street.
I think he's one of the best color for ESPN.
Man, I'm not sure, but yeah, they did announce.
And ESPN or NBC has some great just like coverage in general, especially their Sunday night stuff where they have
Dungy and Rodney Harrison.
Rodney Harrison.
I hate him. Shout outs to Rodney Harrison.
And then they still have Costas, and they'll have because Chris Collinsworth and Al Michaels.
They're great.
And they're still staying on Sunday night, right?
Yeah.
And then Tarico's going to Thursday
and
night.
I don't know if Collinsworth is going to join them. Okay.
They're doing double Collinsworth.
That'll be great. You can never have too much Collinsworth. Well, maybe, but two nights a week is fine.
I think, and a lot of people discuss that the reason why Collinsworth and Al Michaels work so well is because they're legitimately excited about the game. Always. Like, I always feel like Al Michaels cares. Whereas, like, sometimes you get... And I think Tarico has that same energy where, like, he's had calls where... Lost the ball! Like, where he's legitimately loud and excited. Whereas, like, you get some that are just like...
Joe Buck.
Yeah, I didn't want to use it, but, like, sometimes his calls are just, like, not
dry.
They're dry.
He's okay. Like,
I think you got to put him in the right sport.
Yeah.
I think baseball, he's
I just don't watch that much baseball, so.
He's not bad. I mean, he's covered some decent... I know some places don't like him, like Kansas City, and they had that petition where they didn't want to...
It just seems like with football, like, almost all of his calls are the same. Like, he has, like, 6 calls, and they cover, like, any number of different plays that it could be, and that's just kind of it.
But then you can even go way too over the top. What's his name?
Gus Johnson.
Gus Johnson is a great commentator, but his calls sometimes are just him screaming.
Yeah.
With the Cincinnati Bengals tip where they scored the touchdown, he's just like,
just straight up yelling into the micro. Like, I imagine he's like ripped his microphone off and he's just like yelling
he's
into the mic.
He's punching through things, like the set is flipped over, like the desk is just gone, and he's just like stomping on his papers.
I absolutely could see that.
Oh yeah.
But I love Gus Johnson.
I do too.
Man. It's truly sad that he is not on March Madness anymore, because that's when he really was into it.
The Adam Morrison call. Adam Morrison with the
You can go look that up on YouTube. I think it's called Batista with the catch. Go look it up. Gus Johnson, YouTube. You will not be disappointed.
It's it's so funny.
Oh yeah, he's great. There's no denying he's great. Different personalities work, but some just don't.
And I think with me now going to an esports background, with me being, a Melee commentator, I think one thing I like about Melee commentary especially, it's still grassroots, so it's still like, it's not being like barked at by professionalism. Right. And it's still like, we'll like go on tangents in the middle of like a set and just like have fun. I think you feel that with that, and I almost wish you got a small slice of that in some of the professionalism,
right,
where you could see their personalities a little bit more, instead of like, I'm just going to be, all about the game. I'm going to be the voice of the game, instead of I'm going to be the voice of the game and myself.
I know what they could. They should just start having like Al Michaels and Collinsworth on Jimmy Fallon like once a week.
I think that would be so good, because I think that's the problem with being a commentator, is sometimes unless you're like a grassroots one, or you're like, you have your own segments, you have your own extra content, you're just a voice instead of a person.
Right. Although, funny story, Al Michaels kind of did show his personality, because I think it was a couple weeks ago on the Dan Patrick Show. He was going to give an interview, but he hadn't eaten yet. So he literally ate a full course steak dinner while he was doing his interview. Like, they set up a big table for him and everything.
Oh my God.
He was drinking a glass of wine, baked potato, salad. He had it all, like the works.
I could see them like making this like a huge segment like regularly where they bring him out like this massive
Right.
meal and like put the lights all on him. They have like the candles going. And they have like a waiter to like bring him out
Like,
stuff.
eventually it gets to like a buffet. Like, they've got a whole buffet lined out for Al Michaels.
And it's just like, not only is it a buffet, but it's a buffet line, and the camera just goes down the
Slowly.
line, and he eats while he's still on the line.
And reviews the food while giving the interview.
We should just be producers.
Yeah, we should just pitch that. That's a winning show right there.
That was
No one steal that.
we got off on maybe one of the worst tangents ever because that was from games we played.
No, that is fine.
What do you want to talk about?
Let's just start talking about sports a little bit.
Yeah, we got into that a little
More
bit.
sports.
The big thing that, and, you know, honestly, the only thing I care about. Races tomorrow. Well, it was yesterday by the time this airs, so we won't discuss the race because that'll be old news.
Someone's gonna win.
So yeah,
Pat McAfee's driver could win. That's who I'm pulling for. He sponsored someone. Pat McAfee. He sponsored a car this year.
Was it just like him saying I'm?
I don't know. It's like American something. It's like American boomstick or something like. It's something along that. It's like American something. I don't remember exactly what it was.
That's such a Pat McAfee thing.
Yeah,
to
it
do.
definitely is.
But
he got his first interview with SportsCenter today, Pat McAfee,
Oh.
because of the sponsor. Not because he plays for the Colts, but because he sponsored a car.
I was telling my girlfriend the day Pat McAfee got big was the day he jumped in the canal drunk.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was when,
his stock quadrupled.
It was like punter, says some controversial things, jumped in the canal drunk.
Yep.
And he kept going.
And now he's just plateaued where that was.
There is no plateau. He has his own
he
talk
just
show.
keeps going up.
He has
you're right.
With the Star, which is a weekly thing. He's
His Twitter account. Is just
like I think
fire.
3 years in a row he's been Nuvo's biggest local celebrity to have at your kegger.
Oh, I would absolutely
And
think that.
biggest celebrity to like be in the loop with. Like that is like he won both of those I think 3 years in a row maybe through Nuvo, which is like they have great reviews, great top lists, and so like he was the best of indie like 3 times.
Oh, and he's a comedian now. Does stand up.
Oh yeah, he does do stand up
comedy.
So I think like Pat is like such a
he's great. One of my favorite NFL players and personalities.
yeah. I think he's almost more of a personality because he's just the punter.
He's such a good punter.
He's a good punter and he can put hits on people.
Oh yeah, massive linebacker hits.
He's a pretty big guy. Though.
He's forced a fumble before.
Oh. That's the only response I got. So thinking about it, the only real sporting event we have to cover that has massive impact is the finals coming up.
Yep.
With this being Saturday, we're filming an hour and a half, 2 hours before Game 6.
Yeah, a couple hours.
We'll break this into 2 segments. We'll cover the matchups. If the Thunder win tonight, then we just won't even air the Warriors segment because it'll be worthless.
Right.
So we'll spend this time right now talking about the Thunder Cavs matchup since Toronto is back in the 6.
Yeah, I never really had faith in Toronto, but Thunder
They played well though.
They played well at home. 2 games at home. They're up and coming. DeRozan, not sure if he's a max player. That's the big talk. He's a free agent, and I'm not sure if he's worth max money, but that's what he's asking for, so we'll see what happens. But the Thunder Cavs would be a big-time matchup because it would be a rematch from years back, LeBron's first title.
So that would have been 2012?
Yes.
11-12? Was that?
Yeah, 11-12.
11-12.
11-12. And now LeBron, weirdly enough, he's not the old man, but he's definitely like the veteran. He's the veteran player. He's
been in the league for 10 years.
More. I'm thinking like 12,
13.
12 or 13.
His 12 because his first year was 2003.
Yeah.
We discussed this in the office, so
like,
you'll see. You guys will appreciate this.
What he definitely is he's always like an alpha dog on the court.
Yeah.
Like he always wants to try to make the best decision. He doesn't always want to take over with shots, but he always, I think, takes over, especially when he needs to in the late years. Of course, there was the Mavs Heat debacle where he would just go completely away.
And I don't think that is a full that was, just...
that was just, it happened. It happens. It happens to the best players. But the matchup that would be like highlight reel after highlight reel after highlight reel would be Kyrie and Russ Westbrook.
Yeah, because I think the big thing that I saw is that Kevin Durant has really stepped it up on the defensive end. He's made,
absolutely.
He's made Draymond Green look like a shell of himself.
Minus one game, Draymond has looked terrible.
And so, Kevin Durant has stepped that up. I never really thought of him as a defensive.
But he's out there
powerhouse.
jumping and picking off. He's getting steals at a big time rate.
So
as a 6'10" guy,
you got to really appreciate Durant putting in the work. You've got Westbrook, who's still
stud.
A compliment to. I really think he's a compliment to Durant.
Durant is still the best player, yes, on that team.
But I think Russ can take the pressure. It's not all
he can totally take the pressure.
Last year, the problem with what the Cavs had, especially in their finals, was that
only LeBron.
It was only LeBron. So LeBron was
a bunch of role players.
LeBron was basically forced to put the weight of a city on his shoulders, whereas Durant can share that with Westbrook and even
Ibaka and Steven Adams. Love Steven Adams. He is so good. Big Australian boy. Oh man, I couldn't say enough about Steven Adams.
I've always had a soft spot for Ibaka. I think he's somewhat of an underrated player. I think it's surprising to me that he's still never won a Defensive Player of the Year because that's what he is. He's that defensive.
And the thing you have to ask now, if the Thunder do make it to the finals, and even if they win, is the Thunder made the right decision by keeping Ibaka and letting James Harden go. And some people were all over that when it first happened.
But James Harden, he had a phenomenal season. You can't
absolutely.
discredit
the fact that he was not on an NBA team. He didn't make first, second, or third team, averaging 29, 7, and 5 or something like that.
That is astounding to me because, granted, that team kind of sucked.
Oh, totally.
But you can't discredit
without him, they would have been like the Sixers. So,
well, I don't think they would have been that bad because they still have
no one's that bad.
They still have. I mean, I hate to call him a decent player, but Dwight Howard. You can't discredit that he used to be a
dominant force.
He was the center that everyone aspired to be in the NBA. And now he's just I think it's also just he doesn't want to be in Houston.
Yeah. It never worked. It never worked in LA. It never worked in Houston.
So here's hope for Dwight Howard to actually go somewhere and actually be decent. Because I think
he could go back to the Magic. That's a rumor.
I think
only for a 1-year deal.
I think it's hard to determine what that Magic team did good with him. Do you think they built around him?
Not really.
It was just kind of
they had Jameer Nelson. He was good for a couple years, but
and Hedo.
Yeah, and
Turkoglu was so good because remember that the Cavs series when the Cavs got swept in the finals, the series before when they played the Magic. And Turkoglu hit the shot that people forget about before LeBron hit the game winner. Yep. Turkoglu was good for that team.
Yeah, for a couple seasons, the Magic definitely showed some promise, and then it just kind of collapsed in on itself.
Mm-hmm. Like a lot of small market teams do. I mean, you see that with. Hate to throw my local favorites under the bus, but the Pacers. They had maybe one of the best starting 5 units I've seen in recent history because that whole starting 5 from Paul George to George Hill, Lance Stevenson, who's now nothing. David West, who's about to retire and was the smash mouth the key guy, and then Hibbert, who once again is another player who's a shell of himself. That team was so good, loaded for those 2 seasons when they played that lineup.
Who was the big white guy they had?
It wasn't Plumlee.
Was it Scola?
Scola with the
Yeah.
long
Scola,
hair.
yeah.
Yeah, Scola. Scola was good off the bench, and then they also had other players that came off the bench like, I can't think of his name now. He played for the Sixers, or not Sixers, Suns as well. He won a dunk contest too. I can't think of the names.
Man, I don't know.
You're not a big Pacers fan, so.
Yeah, I'm really not sure on that.
But yeah, they had a couple like from the bench. I'm going to score like 10 or 11.
Right.
So now this team is just kind of weird.
And
because
the thing with that team is, and I know this hurts you, but literally went from what they are now, collapsed, to what they could have been in one play because Vogel decided not to keep Hibbert on LeBron.
And that's I've sat there and I was sick. You remember,
It may have not affected it, but there's always the what if.
I'll never forget that game. I could not. I was tweeting during the game, and I could not pick my laptop off of my knees because it hurt so bad. And then I went outside and nearly wanted to throw up because you're just so sick to watch that.
Yep.
But it's one of those where you're just like, it happens. I mean, I know a lot of Kentucky fans, like, they go back and they look at,
I don't
Leitner.
like looking at any of them.
You go back and you think about Leitner. I mean, like,
Luckily, I don't remember that one.
yeah, we would have. That was the year we were born.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been born yet.
I wouldn't have either.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Couple months.
I was like 9 months away.
Yeah.
But like, you go back and some fans are just like, "Damn, Leitner,
Still.
he's a pain in my ass, and I hate him." But you're just like, I mean, at some point you just got to say, it was a great shot and a great play. So I mean, like, people hate Leitner because he didn't. I think that's the thing that people hate Leitner for. He didn't go on to do anything.
Yeah.
So I think that. What else do you think? We mainly covered the Thunder side of it. What about the Cavs side of it?
The Cavs side of it is totally different from last year because they're healthy.
Yeah,
They're loaded now. I mean, last year they were having to start Dellavedova, who decent role player, but
And who was the big man that they started?
Timothy Mozgov. He does not even play anymore.
Exactly, and everyone was like talking about how good he was last year, and like the fact that you go from being good to now being, or you were from once being good to now not even playing in the NBA. Period. Is that what it is?
No, he's on the roster.
He's on the roster.
Most of the time, it's coach's decision not to play him.
Yep. So I mean, like, you can't discredit that from like the big factor in the Warriors winning. Who will be the big question? Who's going to be the who's going to have home court going into the series?
If it's Cavs Thunder, then the Cavs have home court by a few. They won by like a couple games. They had a better record.
But other way around,
Obviously, the Warriors have.
The Warriors had the best record of all time.
Correct.
So I think that really kind of covers those two. I think. What do you think? Who do you think is the favorite going into that?
Man,
That's hard. Because especially how good the Thunder have been playing.
I was going to say, that even though the Cavs have home court, they have not had to play the teams that the Thunder have had to play. I mean, you look at the Spurs and the Warriors, and
those were the two best
these
teams
are two
going
teams
into
that
it.
go down as almost all-time great teams, at least in the regular season.
And the Thunder have yet to, like, they've looked dominant against both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, the Spurs had some really
Minus
good games.
game one in the San Antonio series, which seems like forever ago now, and everyone was saying it's over, write them off.
Avery and I were watching that game, and we were just both like, San Antonio looks so good. And the next thing you know, I blink, and San Antonio's out.
Down.
And you're just like, what?
Yep.
What?
But I think with LeBron's leadership, especially, and he's been there so many times, this makes his 6th straight NBA final.
And you can't discredit that either.
Oh,
I mean,
and
like, that's...
You can't discredit, and forget, there's one other player that joins LeBron on this current team. James Jones. James Jones has been to the finals 6 straight times with LeBron.
I did not realize he was on that roster.
He was with the Heat roster all 4 years, and then he moved with LeBron back to Cleveland.
Former Pacer.
James Jones.
Yes. Yeah. James Jones is a former Pacer, yeah. Along with, who was the other Jones you remember, that won the dunk contest? He actually, as a Pacer, Only Pacer to win.
Dante?
No, not Dante Jones. Fred Jones.
Fred Jones.
Fred Jones.
Oh, man, that's a vault right there.
There you
That's
go.
going
Open
back.
Turn that one back open. Do you remember his game-winning dunk? Because he was like a 6'3" guy. He lobbed it up and his chest almost hit the
Right.
rim. I was still a
man.
little kid and remember imitating that dunk for years.
I would imagine you going like crazy.
Dad and I were berserk.
But if we're going back to favorite, I would give the nod to the Cavs.
I think
Just
so.
because home court's big, and almost always LeBron's teams steal at least one road game.
Always.
So that's like almost a 2-game home court advantage right off the bat that the Thunder are going to have to try going to Cleveland and win 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be tough. But I'm not going to discredit anything the Thunder can and can't do because they've been incredible so far.
No matter what, it's going to be more than likely a 7-game series. I think six.
At least 6.
At
There's
least
no
6.
way it's 4 or 5. There's no way. Unless someone gets hurt or something like that.
Yeah.
And even then, they're professionals. They're not going to want to lose. They're not going to want to get swept.
Unless it's like a massive tear. I mean, like we've seen Curry play through his injuries recently. Like
Yeah.
he took a few games off, but they were games they were more than likely going to win.
Right.
So like he's been that guy where he's gonna play through. I mean, you can obviously tell he's a little.
He's still hurt. I don't care what anyone says. He's not 100%.
So-
there's no way.
But at this point in the season, a lot of people don't play 100%.
No, absolutely. I mean, that's every year, and all the teams are hurt at this point in the
I
year.
remember last year. I mean, I know this is weird, but speaking to my like WNBA Finals experience, where I covered the covered the Fever, I remember asking one of the players. I was like, someone had asked like, what is or how you guys feeling, and or like this player, you know, how's she feeling? They're like, honestly, none of us are 100%. We're all banged up.
Right.
So you're at that point.
That's
where
just how it is.
That's just how it is. I mean, it's a long season. Now we're up to in the 90s of games for these two teams.
Yep.
Because you play your 72, and then now you play those sometimes 7-game series.
Or no, 82.
82. So then now you're.
We might be in the hundreds by now.
By now, yeah. Well, the Cavs probably aren't
No, because they swept.
because they swept the
So,
first two.
let's see.
They played 6 and then
They're at 96.
96. So I
So
mean,
the
they're
other two teams are at,
pretty close to 100.
yeah. Everyone would at least be close to 100.
Okay. So, what do you think about the Warriors?
Okay, that's a big if. If they can win,
They got 2 games to win, including one tonight, or what would have been tonight.
yeah.
Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
They would have already, at this point, if we keep this segment, they would have won in
Correct. And it'll,
OKC.
OKC, and that would be, I think that'd be the nail in the coffin.
and they would win it.
If they won, as they would have if this segment is here, then Game 7 is right at home, I think. I mean, you can't just say for sure, but they'd be a heavy favorite at home.
Oracle's hard to lose in.
And
for
Thunder
them.
already stole one, so
Yeah.
you only get one there. That's my thing, no matter who the team is.
So if this segment airs, you're honestly saying that it's going to be a Cavs Thunder rematch.
Cavs Warriors.
Cavs Warriors, that's what he meant.
Yeah, and
what I mean.
I think honestly, it'd be huge. I mean, coming back 3-1, no one giving you a chance, even though you're the best regular season team of all time. You have one of the best players in recent history. No one giving you a chance. It'd be a big thing, and obviously the media would go crazy because we know the media loves their Warriors and their Steph.
The golden boy.
Yep.
No pun intended. But, I mean, like, they love him. I think even players, like, I highly appreciate him as a player, but I think, now I forget his name, Clay
Thompson?
Clay Thompson. He's a shooter.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, Clay's a straight up shooter. Well, I mean, he can drive a little bit. Steph is probably the best shooter ever when he's on.
I think the only other two that you look at that could be in that category is Ray Allen and Reggie.
Yeah, and Bird.
And Bird, yeah.
But-
you always got
but-
Bird. Being in Indiana,
Yeah, you got
Bird is God.
But I would say at least. I mean, the facts don't. Over the past 2 seasons, Steph's been the best shooter. That's not up for debate.
Yeah, there is
Obviously,
no debate.
the other is, but and he's a good dribbler and a good passer, but he's not the best in any aspect in that. Like there's a guy on ESPN saying that Curry was the most skilled player of all time.
And there's no
flat
way.
out.
There's no way.
There's no way. No.
You have to look at players that did it all, like Magic, who at one point in a series played a center.
Yep.
Curry can't do that.
No.
You look at players like
Bill Russell,
the Big O.
Big O,
averaged a triple-double over a season. That is the definition of doing everything consistently.
Yeah.
You can't.
And then you have to look at like
that.
Curry is not a dominant force like Shaq or Wilt. I mean, he's,
or even at times LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron can say like, "Give
LeBron's
me the damn
such
ball."
an overall player. Like he does everything.
He's
a great defender.
He's very similar to what Magic did.
Yeah, he might have the best like court awareness ever. Because LeBron, most of the time when if he has a lot of turnovers, it's not because he's passing it wrong. It's because he's dribbling wrong. He does dribble high. That's one of his kind of flaws. And he's not a good shooter, but everything else, he's better than Steph at. He's a better rebounder. Yeah. He's a better one-on-one defender. He's a better team defender. He's a better passer.
And I think it also comes with his stature. Like you can't like
he's huge.
You can't forget whenever you compare the two. You can't forget that Steph Curry is a guard and LeBron is
a
monster.
Forward.
He is a monster, like he would be in Space Jam. Shout out to Space Jam 2.
If it's coming. We don't know yet.
Please no.
I could care less.
Yeah, Space Jam 1 is too good. Space Jam 1 had Bill Murray.
Space Jam 1 is just, oh man, such a classic.
Bill Murray!
Absolutely.
Bird! Bird!
Just an absolute classic.
Bird playing golf. Bird played golf.
Absolute classic. But if we're going to talk about Cavs Warriors, then you got to give the Warriors the advantage because Oracle Arena, they beat them last year, even though the Cavs were not what they are now. But Kevin Love's never been in this situation. Kyrie Irving's never been in this situation. You don't know how they're going to react to having to go against one of the best teams ever in the NBA Finals.
Kevin Love's undefeated at home in his playoff career.
He's undefeated. He's undefeated in the United States in his playoff career. He's only lost to the Raptors.
That's the stat.
That is the stat.
But I think you also have to look at one thing we really didn't get into with the two series. Whenever we first talked about the Thunder and the Cavs, we talked about the stars. With the Warriors, you got to talk about depth. You have to look at the full starting five because you have Draymond. Love him or hate him,
he's a game changer.
He's a game changer
when he's good.
And at the center, you have a number 1 overall draft pick and Andrew Bogut. People forget about that he was a number 1 overall draft pick.
You got Varejao, who can come in off the bench. You got Iguodala, who
Finals MVP,
totally negated LeBron last year for the good part. I mean, LeBron put up monster numbers, but LeBron shot so poorly, and a lot of that icky. Sean Livingston to give Steph breathers.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think they've got quite the depth that the Thunder have, honestly, because when you talk about the Thunder, you've got Dion Waiters, you've got...
Watch it in the mic. You smacked the mic like 3 times.
Sorry. You got Dion Waiters. You got Enes Kanter. Shout out to Enes Kanter. Kentucky never got to play there, though.
We love him.
You got Steven Adams. You got Roberson, who had a monster game a couple of games ago. I mean, these 3 teams are 3 of the better, more intriguing teams that I can remember for finals in a long time. Mm-hmm. And like even the Cavs have a lot of good depth. I mean, they got the big 3 obviously, but then they got Tristan Thompson. Mm-hmm. They've got J.R. Smith. They've got. I mean, he's been great.
Yeah.
Here's a big pickup. Channing Frye. That was a huge pickup.
Mm-hmm. You remember how good he used to be in Phoenix? Mm-hmm. He was like everyone. I remember that was that Amari and Steve Nash team.
Yep.
Shout out to you being Steve Nash.
Yeah. dribbling back and forth.
Stop it.
Oh, sorry.
Your basketball skills are first.
But yeah, Channing Frye, like, he doesn't miss. Like, he literally, like, when he's open, he's on. Oh, and here's a name. I didn't, until the playoffs, I didn't even know that this guy was on an NBA roster, but he is on the Cavs roster, and he actually plays some quality minutes. Richard Jefferson.
Ooh!
Richard Jefferson.
Ooh!
He dunked it a couple of games ago.
Oh man, getting up.
Dunked it. But like, he's given quality minutes. He really has.
Oh, he was so good. He was
Nets.
He was a Golden State Warrior too, wasn't he? Back
Yeah.
whenever he
Yeah,
played
for a
with
little bit.
Quinn Richardson,
Yep.
right?
But his big time was the Nets. Him, Jason Kidd, Lucius, Kenyon Martin.
Kenyon Martin.
That was a team right there.
They were in
Who
the
got
final.
swept in the finals.
They were in the finals twice.
Twice. They got swept one time and maybe took it to 5 or 6 another time.
Who the team they played?
Lakers.
Yeah.
Good old Lakers.
I still can't believe that. I look back at the 2002-3 Lakers when they got beat by the Pistons.
And how loaded they were.
That starting lineup: Gary Payton, Kobe, Shaq,
Karl
and
Malone, and Robert Horry.
Yeah,
I think.
Robert Horry came off the bench.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. I can't remember who the fifth was. I looked at it.
It would have been loaded, though. Rick Fox, maybe.
Rick Fox did not start either.
Okay.
Rick Fox still would have been on that team, though.
Okay, yeah. Great player. Loved
Yeah.
Rick Fox.
I love Rick Fox because now, do you know what Rick Fox does?
Is he an actor?
He owns an esports team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he signed Mewtwo King.
Oh, that's so good. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
Yeah, he started Echo Fox and started signing players because he thought it would be a way for him to connect with his son because he recognized the growth in what it could be.
That's so good.
And it's cool because like everyone's like, it makes so much sense because now he's like able to like nurture with him being the owner, with him being able with him having that basketball IQ, with him having that like athletic IQ and that professionalism, he's able to like help translate that to other players.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
But if we're finishing up on the finals and we want projections, I would say if it's Thunder Cavs in 7.
I think so.
And I would say if it's Warriors Cavs in 7.
Okay.
That's what that's my rough guesses.
Mine, probably Cavs in 7, Warriors in 6. I think Warriors are just too good.
Yeah.
I hate saying that because like, it's. I mean, I think it's just honestly, it's a lot of specialists, and then Steph.
But they're all.
It
all works so well.
They're all phenomenal at like what they do.
Yeah.
It's not just everyone can do everything. It's Clay can shoot, Steph can manage, Draymond can D it up, Bogut does Bogut things, and Iggy off the bench,
Yep.
right? Iggy does his things. It's just like it works.
Yep. Yeah. If we want to talk more sports, we should get to our favorite sport,
Football.
NFL, which never has an off season. In all honesty, I mean, just had the draft, huge draft. Shout out to Ryan Kelly, my boy, the savior of the Indianapolis Colts O-line. He's coming. He's gonna get you. He's gonna show up at your home. He's going to scare your children.
What is this?
He is that good. Just Ryan Kelly. Oh man, I could go on and on about Ryan Kelly.
Keep it up.
Oh man, Ryan Kelly is just me and Ryan Kelly. We go way back. If I'm being honest, stop it. If I'm being honest, I remember he'd be eating a couple of hamburgers in lunch line and before in the lunch line before he even got to the lunch, he'd be pulling burgers out of his knapsack and
That's enough. I think I'm
eating the burgers.
I'll cut you off there.
The whole. Well, I'm going to talk about the Colts. I thought the Colts
Sure.
draft. I thought the Colts draft was a B+. I like that they really covered the O-line.
I can't believe you're not giving them an A just for that's for their first pick.
Well, that's like an A++++. I mean, I could go on. But I'll say B+ because they definitely fixed it. They made the O-line better. Mm-hmm. It wasn't the worst anyway. Honestly, Pro Football Focus had the passing O-line ranked fairly high. The run was bad.
Yeah.
But they've definitely improved on it.
But when has the Colts running line been good?
Yeah, never.
Like, honestly, like, you have to go back to, like, 2009.
Yeah.
Back when Adai.
Adai and Dominique Rhodes.
And then you go back
before that, Edge, obviously.
And then before that, you can't, like, if you take out Edge from the picture, I honestly can't think of
They had Falk for a year or two, maybe.
Marshall Falk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they
before
traded
that,
him.
honestly, you can't think of, like, you can't handpick, like, a good Colts.
Of course, they haven't been around. I mean, they've only been around 30-some years.
But,
when we're talking about it. But still, yeah, they're...
I can still pick good, running backs.
For the past, 5, 6, 7 years, the running game has been dreadful. Vic Ballard had one good season, then he got hurt. So
everyone thought Donald Brown was going to be the savior. I remember that in high school.
Terrible.
And it was just like... and then I'll never forget the panic that everyone threw when they traded for Trent Richardson.
Yeah, let's not discuss that one.
I'll never forget that day in class where we like stopped class for 20 minutes and was like, because it was a sports journalism class. So everyone was just like
freaking out. Everyone
was like, Super Bowl, and like everyone was like in a panic, and like that the Colts were going to make a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
and then like,
but
that's all you can say about Trent Richardson.
Yeah, I mean that's it. He like 2.6 yards per carry or something like that. You can't. But anyway, the improvement of the O-line should help because Andrew Luck, whether you buy the hype or not, I do, as you can see.
They actually can't see, but
okay. Well, there's a poster of Andrew Luck on the wall. He's great. He's the staple. He's the franchise player. He's getting ready to be the highest paid player in the league of all time. You have to keep him healthy. Now, obviously, some of that is his problem. He holds onto the ball a little long. Definitely.
Yeah.
He doesn't slide. He runs out of the pocket a little quicker than maybe he should.
Puts his body on the line.
Puts his body on the line.
Even on an incomplete pass.
Yeah, or interceptions or fumbles. And you do that, you end up hurt. Look at Andy Dalton. They had a great year going. Throws a pick, tries to tackle a 300-pound lineman, breaks his finger. I mean, that's the name of the game. You have to protect yourself if you're the franchise quarterback.
Yeah. You can credit the work that they put in like that, the effort, but at some point you have to recognize, like you can only do so much. And if you do have an Andy Dalton situation like that, and you don't you don't go for that tackle, they were a team that could have been a Super Bowl contender.
They could have been a 1 seed, and home field throughout. It was all laid out. They had a chance, and it didn't happen. They got unlucky, and that's sometimes how it works. But over the NFL draft was great. Just overall, it was fun. It was entertaining with all the Laramie Tunsil stuff going on.
You're talking to a guy. I hate to say it, but I can't watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, for anyone that didn't know, Laramie Tunsil was a top 5 prospect. Like half an hour before the draft,
the video of him the smoking through the
gas mask came out. He dropped like 10 picks. Then it came out that he got paid by Ole Miss. So there was a whole thing going on during the draft. And it definitely made that first round more entertaining. But
speaking to a guy who likes reality, so that was like...
that's true. Shout out to Big Brother. Best TV show.
Stop it!
Best TV show.
Enough's enough.
Is, getting ready. June 22nd, I believe, is when it's coming back on.
I'm about to just cut the feed.
See, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, I think. 3 days a week. NFL! Okay. You want to do what we do almost every year except last year?
We gonna get the paper out?
It's up to you if you want to get the paper out. We can go buy it, or we can get the paper out.
Yeah, we'll get the paper out. We'll cut real quick.
I mean, we can get our popcorn ready, but how in the world are you gonna
Welcome back.
How in the world are you gonna stop Tio?
We took a little break to.
How in the world are you gonna stop this duo?
Stop it.
Get your popcorn ready. Get your popcorn ready.
Since this is the show of shout-outs to NCAA Game Breaker, one of the beautiful.
How in the world are you gonna stop Ocho Cinco?
Let's tell the people at home what happened. So we took some paper and we filled out, you can't see it, but we filled out the records of what we think all the NFL teams are going to finish. That is not based on fact. It is not based on...
This is early prognosis.
Early prognosis. And so we did that. We picked our division winners. We picked our wild cards. And then we have our brackets partially filled out, and we will fill out the rest of them as we go. So, where you want to start? We want to just start at the top?
Yeah, start with the NFC East.
You go. You're the guest.
Me go?
Yeah, just start the NFC East.
And do we want to go by last place and then up?
Yep.
Okay. In the NFC East,
we'll also be telling records as well. This is the first time we've ever did it live. We do it almost every year except last year.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles in last place at 6-10.
We won't be quick. We won't just go through the records.
That's it. Okay, no explanations.
We need no explanations. We don't have time for explanations. We will rock and roll.
Then we have a team that won the division last year in third place at 8-8, the Washington Redskins. And then I also have the New York Giants at 8-8, but I have them slightly ahead in seed based off tiebreaker, of course. And then winning the division, the tried and true Dallas Cowboys. Romo stays healthy. I will explain that. They got Zeke. They're going to be better. 10-6 for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay. Eagles, 3-13.
Okay,
we got some bad.
We agree there.
Giants, 5-11.
Ooh.
Eli can't do it.
Eli not doing
It's
well.
one of the down years for the Giants. Again, he has 2 and then he comes on. 2 and on.
Right.
And then Cowboys, I got sitting at 8-8.
Oh, like always.
And, I'm not a Cowboys guy. Romo's inconsistent. If he's good, he's good. But if he's
recently it's been if he's healthy,
yeah,
they're good. But
and winning the division, we got the Skins 10-6.
That's pretty good.
10-6.
I think that'd be an improvement on last year. Yeah. Okay.
Oh gosh.
We'll just go straight ahead to the NFC South.
We'll stay on that side.
This is going to be shocking for a lot of people.
Okay.
I have the worst team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But the shocking part, I have them finishing 7-9.
Oh,
as the worst team. Then I have the Falcons in third place at 9-7. I have the Saints second place at 10-6, and I have the Panthers still winning the division, obviously dropping off a little, 11-5.
Similar. Bucks. Okay. Sorry, 4-12.
Ooh, not trusting Jameis.
I don't. I probably can never do it.
They still have Doug Martin. Yeah, Doug Martin, muscle hamster.
But I mean, they weren't good on defense, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Not great, at least.
Falcons and Saints tie at 9-7.
Okay,
and then reasonable. The Panthers win 14-2.
Ooh, man, still high on the Panthers.
I mean, they were good. They lost one game.
They were great. Two all year.
2 all year if you count the Super Bowl. 1 in the regular season.
Okay, now we go on to a division that for a long time has been loaded after it was so shockingly poor about 9-10 years ago. I have the San Francisco 49ers at 4-12. I have the LA Rams at 6-10. A little bit of a learning curve for Jared Goff. Good defense, but not enough. Not in that division. Then I have a tie. I have the Cards and the Seahawks at 12-4, but I have the Seahawks beating the Cardinals in division record.
San Fran, I'm sorry, 13-3.
We agree there.
3-13.
We agree there.
Rams, not as. I think it'll be even more of a learning curve for Goff. It will be 4-12.
Okay.
Seahawks still win 10 games. But they don't win the division. I think the loss of Marshawn is going to be a big transition.
Rawls will have to, and he has to get healthy first. Rawls has to get healthy. They did add Purify or something like that, some rookie. I forget his name exactly, but
And the tried and true Carson Palmer at 11-5.
always just stripping that pigskin so nicely.
He's an old man too.
Oh, but oof, man, he's got weapons.
And just to let you guys know, this is not off fact. This is us making random guesses. Especially me. I'm not near as versed in the NFL as I used to be. I
You
am.
need to get back in there, bud.
No TV. You know that.
I'll just buy it.
Yeah. AFC West. What you got for me?
Wait. I thought we were NFC.
Oh,
North.
NFC North. Yeah,
NFC, North.
yeah.
NFC North. I have another good division, but I do have the Lions at 8-8. I think they. I think it's a give and take. No Calvin Johnson, obviously, terrible, but much better O-line. Good defense already. I think they hold the ship at least together 8-8.
We'll do a quick. I'm gonna do a quick edit. You've convinced me.
Then we have the Chicago Bears finishing third place at 9-7.
Oh.
I say they stay in the playoff hunt quite a long time and then lose 4 of their last 5 games. That's my in-depth projection.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I don't even know this. I don't remember the Chicago Bears schedule, but that is what I'm saying. They lose 4 out of their last 5 games to totally drop the division lead. Then in second place, I have the Minnesota Vikings at 10-6.
Good team. They
Good
were
team,
They were great last
good
year.
defense. Teddy, I'm not sold on, but he's at least solid enough.
A lot of upside. A lot of the locals here in Salem, especially the Southern Indiana, love him. You know, him being that
and
local
AP
guy.
always. And going back to the draft, Laquan Treadwell, wide receiver, perfect wide receiver for Teddy Bridgewater, because Bridgewater, he needs someone who can jump up and get his balls, because he's not a great accurate deep thrower. That's who I'm going for. Laquan Treadwell.
I like that.
Watch out for him.
I like that.
And then finishing in
analysis.
first place, I have the Green Bay Packers 12-4. They get back Jordy Nelson. They get back Randall Cobb. They'll probably move Clay Matthews back to his normal spot. Eddie Lacy looks mega trim and buff, and he was not last year. Rodgers stays totally upright. 12-4.
Lions at 5-11. Hurts to see.
That's a little painful.
But they've never just been consistent.
That's
I
true.
think have they only made the playoffs once?
A couple times under
Couple
Stafford,
times
I think.
under Stafford, not sure. No real fact checker here. We did this on the fly.
Yeah, totally.
Bears still can't rely on the homeboy, Jay Cutler.
Cutler can't
6 and 12.
10.
6 and 10. Yes, I can't do math. 6 and 10. That was the update. I don't think the Packers are going to be 100% just like there yet.
Okay.
10 and 6, they'll still make the playoffs.
All right. That's reasonable.
But like them all coming back healthy, you can't.
You can't.
I think those first few games will still be
Yeah,
rusty.
you can't rely on that. You're right. But they're veterans. That's why I think they'll get it together.
And I think the Vikings will still be consistent. I think they'll still like stay in the same stride as they were. 11-5, win the division.
Okay. Moving on to the AFC.
Now,
You are going to love.
Let me take a sip first because
Man, I just
almost
realized
spit out.
I have a lot of not awful teams, but they're all like mediocre like last year. Okay. Here we go. You're going to like this one. In last place, we got a tie.
Here we go.
Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets tie 9, 6, and 1.
Do they tie each other?
That is why.
Okay. What a prediction.
Then in second place, I got the Finns. Improvement. I think Tunzel was a steal, even though we talked about the off-the-field issues. That's going to help Tannehill. I know they lost Lamar Miller. They might get Arian Foster. We don't know yet. It's a rumor. I think they'll be better. And then, always, team that owns that division. They've won it every year Brady's been healthy. The Pats. I got them at 11-5. I got them coming out the gate slow if Brady is suspended. 2-2. But finish it strong. 9-3.
Sorry, Dolphins.
You're getting ready to hurt Josh Lewis right here.
I hate to do it to you, Joshy, but it's It's gonna be a rough year for Tannehill. I really don't trust him.
Okay.
I think he's had good years and he's had some really bad times.
That's reasonable.
3-13.
Ooh,
That's rough. Until
That is a rough
if they get
go.
Arian Foster, it changes. But like I said, this is just us making guesses. I don't think either of us have
3-13.
ever predicted a correct
yeah,
champion.
we probably got close, maybe.
The history books don't show well for us.
Yeah, I don't have them anymore either. So
Jets at 8-8.
okay, not awful.
Not
a little bit of
awful.
regression, not terrible.
We do have a playoff team in Tyrod Taylor.
Oh.
I'm a big man. I'm a big Tyrod
big
guy.
Tyrod guy.
Oh, 9-7.
Okay,
And Pat's at league's second best, 13-3.
ooh, okay. Have no trust issues with Garoppolo going out and performing.
No,
Okay.
I think he'll do. I mean, got to think last year Mike Vick won games
That's true.
for the Steelers. All you got to do is win one of them, and then Brady comes out and he's to get that record.
Brady's got to get it going.
Brady's only got to drop 2 games against that division. They win all the games in that division. They just drop their out of conference games.
Okay, so moving on, we have maybe the most intriguing division this year after the draft.
Well,
we got all sorts of question marks.
Looks intriguing on my end.
All sorts of question marks. We're gonna get the ball rolling. I'm gonna make a small edit. I don't need to edit it. I'm gonna just change it. I was a little too lenient on the Titans. I'm actually gonna put the Titans at 4-12. I had them at 6-10. I don't think that's right. I'm gonna change that. We have an on the record edit right here.
Well, I already had one already. I changed the Bears. Bears and the Lions.
And 12 for the Tennessee Titans. Okay. They finished last place. Then, in third place, we have an improved team. They've improved on defense. They've got a solid 3-year quarterback coming in. Jacksonville Jaguars.
I will make the
They
edit
have an
on them as well.
explosive offense.
I forget about their dual core, their dual wide receivers. Which ones?
Hearns and
Man.
Allen Robinson.
Both great.
Both great.
Hearns sat on my bench all year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I just had better receivers.
And TJ Yeldon at running back. Defense getting pretty good. It's young, but it's very talented. So that's where I'm going with them.
What was the record?
8-8.
8-8. That's not bad.
Then in second place we have the Houston Texans. I think they start slow. Osweiler does not play well. They start off slow, but they pick it back up. End the season on a high note. Give some hope to their fans going forward. Show that they're still in it to win it. 9-7 for the Texans. And then, of course, the Blue Boys.
Let's calm down the bias.
The perfect team, really. If you don't have a team,
So much for calming down the
you
bias.
might as well just be a fan of the Horseshoe. The Indianapolis Colts, led by Andrew Luck. He's coming back healthy. He's going to be in the running for MVP, in my opinion, this year. Not win it, though. In the running.
They're going to tie 2 games.
They're not going to tie 2 games. They're not going to tie any games. It's either win or go home. 11-5 for the Colts.
Okay, that's not bad.
11-5 for the Colts.
Close.
They finished there before. I think they'll finish there again. I don't see a huge improvement in the defense at all. But the offense will be so much better than last year. We'll be able to win games. 11-5.
Very similar. Tennessee, I'm sorry. You still got work to do.
Yeah.
13-3.
Or 3-13.
3-13. You know what I mean. Same numbers. Jags. I had you tying with Tennessee, but I think thinking about like their offense, thinking about the work that they put in last year, I mean they were a good dual set. Then they took some games.
Yeah.
So
they were 6. They were 6-10. They could have been 8-8 easily. 9-7 even.
I think that they'll still like suffer from the same Jag season.
Yeah.
And so they'll 5-11.
Okay.
Texans, though 9-7, very respectable. I think they played good last year, and they didn't even have a very good quarterback.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, based on my tiebreakers of 5 teams finishing at 9-7, they will not make the playoffs.
Oh man, that's rough. That'll be a dynamic into the season if you are correct.
And I hate to say it, but the Colts at 10-6, they'll still make the playoffs, win the division. But I think after watching that sample of Luck in the beginning, I think he'll still have some games where he'll be like that, and he'll throw some games away.
Very well could.
Honestly.
Very well could.
Could be.
Oh man, this next division, this is an exciting one. I'll tell you what. Right
Oh,
here.
you'll love this too.
Okay, last place we got the Chargers at 5-11. I actually need to edit that. I did not have them at 5-11, but
Would you have him at?
I had them at 6-10.
Okay,
But I'm gonna drop a game off because
it's more fun that way.
I like symmetry, and every other team in the division finishes 11-5.
Oh my God.
Three-way tiebreak for division winner, and how's that decided, ladies and gentlemen? Is the team with the best division record gets the division, and I have shout out Trent Pennington, the Oakland Raiders,
Oakland!
Derek Carr, Khalil Mack,
Dog pound.
they're loaded. Amari Cooper, Latavius Murray, good draft. They're in there. They're in it to win it. But I have them at 11-5, and like I said, I have the Broncos and Chiefs at 11-5, but I have them both making the playoffs. So 3 teams from the AFC West making the playoffs.
Bold. Got the Chargers in last. 8-8 though. I think
Okay,
Phillip
got a
Rivers
good
is
division.
respectable.
Definitely, I would agree. He's not had a great team sometimes.
Now we got some funky stuff here.
Okay.
You heard me say 9-7 a lot. 5 team.
I did.
Broncos and Oakland 9-7. Neither make the playoffs.
Ooh, that's hurting Trent. That is hurting Trent.
And the winner of the division being the Chiefs. Alex Smith is still a game manager. They still have Jamal Charles.
Yep.
And
And the new running back. Why can't we remember?
Trace Keene. Trace Keene.
Yeah.
He's super solid. Always a super solid person to throw to. Yeah, I'm bad with names.
Man, I can't remember.
They did pick up a new back though.
It's from last year.
Oh yeah, the guy who
Murray got hurt.
the guy who
Sharkhandrick West.
Chargers Quest.
And then there was another guy. They've just got a good running back core altogether. And then Kelsey, and yeah, they're good.
one of our favorite divisions.
Oh, this is always a fun division.
The AFC North. Who you got?
You're gonna like this one. In last place, I don't think this will be a shock to anyone. We have the
Ravens.
Brown.
Oh, Cleveland Brown. Yes. That's who I have.
And we have their final record at 1-14-1,
Oh yeah, it would be.
tying the Ravens in one of those weeks.
Oh,
I also have a tie on their record, but we have the Bengals in third place,
hurts the mustache.
regressing, losing Hugh Jackson. Their offense kind of sinks. Their defense, can be good, can be bad. Already dealing with injuries. Andy Dalton dealing with his injury. He's still kind of, you never know. And just the other day, Tyler Eifert is going to possibly miss the beginning of the season. That's huge.
Ooh.
So I have them at 9-7. Then I have the Baltimore Ravens at 10-5-1. The other tie with the Cleveland Browns.
Which gets them out of the playoffs because if they don't tie,
Gets
they
them
would.
out of the playoffs. You are correct. They could have had a tiebreak chance over one of the AFC West teams, but because the Browns tie them, the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco, do not make the NFL playoffs.
Shout out to RG3.
And the number 1 seed in the AFC, Pittsburgh Steelers, 12-4, loaded on offense. Bell, Williams, Antonio Brown, Wheaton. They don't have Bryant for the whole year as of now. I don't think it will really matter. Their defense is better. Ben stays healthy. 12-4.
Okay. No shocker. 2-14 Browns.
Okay.
I still think that the Ravens will have some trouble. They had some trouble last year.
They did.
Especially that game against the Steelers where they lost off the kicks.
Oh man, the one that we watched.
The one we watch here, yeah. And they'll still have some problems.
I guess the reason that I have them a little better is because so many games did come down to the wire for them last year. I just kind of have them going back towards a more average point.
I think to stay with that trend, I think that like it'll be another one of those years like last year where they'll choke in those situations. Steelers were good last year. which is why I have them making the playoffs. But
But
they're a 9-7 team.
okay,
They're another tie.
Right.
They are the 5th team that ties at 9-7 in the NFC or the AFC East. Good team. I think there'll just be some games where they just choke it out. I mean, you look at sometimes you look at a team that is a little hyped and they have some trouble. I mean, you look at
okay. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Big game. Thanksgiving night, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis.
Ooh.
Colts have been blown out every time we've played them, but we haven't played them at home yet.
Is that Indy?
It is in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Okay.
Who you got?
I think that's one of those games where the Colts, especially with an energized Indianapolis fan,
Can win it.
Fan core can win it.
Okay.
Winning that division, staying consistent. You talk about dropping games early. I think they will, but I think down the stretch with Dalton healthy, Green,
Hopefully Eifert if he gets back.
11-5.
Okay.
So we go to our playoff brackets.
Oh man.
So we've got we want to just start back in the NFC East.
We'll
the
just start
NFC.
with the NFC. Yeah.
Okay. Your first playoff matchup. Who you got?
My first playoff matchup is the Dallas Cowboys hosting the Arizona Cardinals.
Okay.
I have that as the 4 seed against the 5 seed. And I have the Cardinals winning. A superior team. Have them coming out.
My matchup would be the Skins and the Packers. Same matchup. It would be the 4 and the 5.
Right?
Rematch of last year.
Yep.
Which is why I thought it was interesting. I've got the Packers winning this one. They played it close last year in the playoffs.
For about a half or 3/4.
About a half or 3/4. What I watched because that was during the snow
Right.
here, so I missed half of it. And then they look good, but I think this is the situation where the healthy team comes into play.
Okay.
And so I've got them winning. Next would be for you.
The next matchup would be a little interdivision matchup.
Woo!
Got the Panthers and the Saints. Panthers
Saints.
hosting. So they win the division. And I'm going to take the Panthers.
Mhm.
I trust in Cam Newton at home. I do not like that Saints defense enough to be able to stop the Carolina Panthers, even now that they've gotten rid of Rob Ryan.
I spelled Panthers without an H for some reason.
Oh, that's fine. Panthers.
Panthers. Still
Okay.
cats. Still
And-
something
and
cats
who
do.
do you got?
I got Vikings and Seahawks.
Another rematch.
Yeah, that's what makes the
Another rematch.
And Seahawks won that last year, right?
Yeah, off of a blown 29-yard field goal kick or something like that.
Yeah,
by
that's
the
right.
Vikings.
Oh, that's right. I watched that one live too because that was right before the same other game. Boys, I like teams cleaning up their act after last year.
Okay, you got the Vikings.
Which means
That means for me, I have the Panthers advancing and playing the Seahawks.
so just to double check the
worst seed plays the 2 seed,
Okay. So
or the worst seed left plays the 1 seed is what I mean.
okay. Now we'll go to the other side. So the matchups, just to clarify, the matchups for the next round will be the Panthers, Packers for me, and Vikings versus Cards.
And for me, we have the Seahawks, Panthers, and the Packers, Cards. Okay, now to the AFC. We've got a little. We got a fun one over here. We have the Raiders hosting the Chiefs. Another interdivision rivalry.
That's 2.
And we have that Raiders crowd coming out and just. Ooh, they're going to be
Dog pound.
in the dog pound. They're going to want to keep the team there. They're going to want to win a playoff game. And they're going to get it done. They're going to obliterate the Chiefs. I've got them winning by at least 3 touchdowns. Raiders over Chiefs.
That black and silver coming in. Interesting you brought up a matchup on Thanksgiving because my matchup is Colts Steelers and it would be back in Indy and I think Pittsburgh is going to pull that one.
Oh, don't hurt me like that.
I hate to do it.
Oh.
but we like some upsets. You just picked Oakland to win a playoff game. So I got the Steelers beating the Colts in Indy
All right.
by a touchdown.
Then
It's gonna be a last second big
Oh,
game
no.
drive. Or last round. It'll be a 2-minute warning Big Ben drive to beat the Colts in Indy, and the Indiana fans go home sad.
oh, don't hurt me. Okay.
Next round. Or
The next game,
next
we
game.
have the 3 seed New England Patriots for me. And we have them rematching with the team that they've been playing year after year. Seems like every year in the playoffs for the past few years. And this time, with no Peyton and with home field advantage, the Pats are going to kill the Broncos.
I can see that. Mine is actually super interesting, and we're gonna get some fun. We got the Bills and the Chiefs.
Ooh, that is a good matchup.
That's a
we
weird
got
one.
two totally different court. We got lightning fast, on the move, throwing it out.
Maybe a modern day Michael Vick.
Tyrod Taylor, and then you got the game manager. He's quick too.
He's quick, but he's not. And number one
He
overall
doesn't,
pick.
he doesn't look to throw it downfield.
And he's the almost a West Coast-esque quarterback
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you're just running your short routes and you'll just efficiently manage the game. You know what? I told you I was high on Tyrod. Bills win a quarterback.
didn't.
Bills win a playoff game.
Oh, you didn't.
2 touchdowns.
Nice little smoke in there. Well, a nice little,
Touchdown and a half. Touchdown and a field
okay,
goal.
a little breezy.
Yep. So that means the Steelers. Wait, please. Oh, they tied. No. So I had the Bills as the better seed than the Steelers. So that means they'll play the Bengals, and the Pats will play the Steelers.
Okay.
Because the
Right,
Steelers were the
yeah,
lower seed of the 9 and 5
And
teams.
yes, correct.
Of the 9 and 5
correct.
teams, or the 9 and 7 teams who made the playoffs.
Yes, that is how it works. That is correct. Okay, now we get to the divisional round.
What was your matchups? Just to make sure.
Packers, Cardinals,
No, the other side. AFC.
Steelers, Raiders,
Okay.
Colts, Pats.
Ooh.
I'm gonna get to that one.
Okay, let's go back to the NFC.
Okay, NFC. Packers, Cardinals. The Packers are going to want a little bit of revenge for what happened last year in a great game. Sunday night, Collinsworth going crazy. 3 Hail Marys.
No.
3 Hail Marys last year. But they're going to get a little revenge. But it's going to be close to, and it's going to be, mark my word, the Packers do not want to fall to the Cardinals again, especially as the 1 seed. Rodgers Hail Mary to win it. To win it. In a tie game, he's chucking it from 50 yards deep. They don't choose to punt, even though they could. Chucks it with no time left. Jordy Nelson back of the end zone.
Panthers-Packers is mine. And I had implied it last round, but the Packers find their stride with a healthy team. Upset
Oh.
Carolina.
Okay.
They prove that sometimes a good offense can really outweigh a good defense. Because that's what Carolina has. Carolina
Yeah.
has a solid defense.
Solid defense and an explosive quarterback.
And I think Green Bay has an explosive quarterback and an even more explosive guys around him,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Packers win that one.
Okay.
It's close, though.
Okay, and then with the next game, I have the Seahawks Panthers.
Okay.
And you just don't go into Seattle and beat the Seahawks. So I don't even need.
Were they the home team in that?
In this matchup, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I've got the Seahawks as the home team.
Oh, wow.
And I got the Seahawks winning.
Vikings Cards. I said
It's a
that
little different game.
it's a little bit different. I think, honestly, Teddy's going to be out of stride. I think Arizona, great defense,
Veteran quarterback.
veteran quarterback, veteran receiver. They are going to punch it to him, not in the way you think. It's not going to be a high-scoring game. 10-0.
Okay.
10-0 Cards.
All right, now moving on. Oh man, I went just after I saw the matchup. I went back and forth on this. We got the Raiders traveling to Pittsburgh to face the number 1 seed Pittsburgh Steelers.
Please do it. Please do it. For Trent. For Trent.
Oh man,
It's hurting your heart. Break it down for me a little bit.
Here we go. Steelers get a nice little lead.
Our hypothetical season is just
In the first quarter.
coming to a...
14-3 into the first. Oakland punts. First play of the second quarter. First possession for the Steelers on that drive. I brought it up earlier. They're great when he's healthy. Ben goes down. Ben gets hurt. The Raiders come back and lose off a missed Janikowski field goal.
Don't you dare put this
That's
on
what I'm doing.
Janikowski.
It's on Janikowski.
Don't you dare put
can't
this
do
on
it.
Janikowski.
The Steelers barely hold on, but go into the next week without their quarterback.
Hate to do this to Ben, but I'm going to do a blowout.
Okay?
3 touchdown win by the Pats.
All right.
They're just too good.
Too good at home.
Too good, especially, you talked about the Brady possible suspension. He's got that weight behind him.
Yeah.
It's Brady. Brady puts things behind him.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
I could go on about this matchup for days.
please don't. We've been on this topic
We
for a
have-
while.
The New England Patriots traveling to Indianapolis in a game that Andrew Luck, that the Colts want to prove they can beat this team. They get a chance at home. And in a 28-24 victory, the Indianapolis Colts
I figured it was coming.
get a touchdown with 58 seconds to go. Luck, bootleg scramble, 5-yard touchdown, third down, and goal. 28-24. Colts. Magical. Party ensues. Celebrate for a week. Best game in a while. Oh, and Brady throws 2 picks.
Oh, okay, you're good to know. Thanks for
And a fumble. 2 picks and a fumble.
That's what cost him the game.
But 3 touchdowns.
So,
All to Gronk.
all the what a breakdown. Imagine if this season happened. What would we do?
We won't remember the in-depth stats that we said. Well, maybe.
We've got footage.
Oh, yes, we do.
It's not just us talking.
Oh, that's right.
This is the first time we've ever had this.
Okay,
we
go
have
ahead.
proof.
Go ahead.
Bills Bengals.
Okay, that's a shocker, honestly. That's a shocking matchup just hearing it.
And hate to do this to the AFC and Tyrod. 3 touchdown win for the Bengals.
Okay.
It's going to be a rough day for football that day. Everyone's going to be like, I'm just going to go watch something else.
All right, now we go to the NFC Conference Championship.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tasty matchup for me. We got the Packers hosting the Seahawks. Remember, 2 years ago, the Packers went to Seattle, lost on that debacle onside kick recovery.
And then replacement refs too.
Oh yeah, going back 2, 3, or however many seasons ago that was, lost on replacement refs.
Oh, I
But
forgot.
this time.
Oh, that was 2 years ago. Yeah.
But this time,
Ooh.
in Green Bay, the Packers pull it off. Rodgers has a great game, and the Packers win 31-21. No, 31-23. 31-23.
Similar matchup, similar results. Packers win 2 touchdowns.
Okay. Then we have the Colts traveling to Pittsburgh. But if you remember, Big Ben just got hurt. He's not playing in this game.
Oh my gosh, you're breaking this down.
He is not in this game.
So who they?
They're relying on Landon Collins, I do believe.
Or they could call up Michael.
They could call it Michael. You never know.
Michael is retired, but I think he'd be willing to
but
come back. He misses the game.
It's going to be a low score. It's going to be a lot of Le'Veon Bell for the Steelers. He's going to score. You know he will. He's going to want to put the team on his back without Ben in there. Antonio Brown as well, but we know how he struggles with no Ben. He'll be going up against Vontae Davis. No Ben, Vontae, Brown struggles. It's all on Bell. But the Colts start slow. That crowd gets to him. Landon Collins, he's pumping up. He's got it going.
The young guy.
Le'Veon Bell's got it going.
The young guy.
Luck throws a couple picks early.
Ooh.
First quarter.
Don't want to do that to that Steelers team.
But he puts it behind him. Comes back. Throws 3 touchdowns. 21-17. Colts go to the Super Bowl.
Packers, Pats. Good Super Bowl. That's a good matchup. We've seen Rodgers in the Super Bowl play really well.
We've seen Brady in the Super Bowl play
really
great.
well. Packers get on a roll. I think Packers, in that final postseason stretch, go on one of the best wild card runs of all time.
Okay.
Win the Super Bowl. 10 points. I think it's a close one.
Close?
Yeah. Where's the Super Bowl at this year?
The Super Bowl is in Houston.
Okay.
So far away from both.
Yeah. Mill Road for the most part. I mean, it's gonna be good. Gonna be a good matchup. I think it'll be, both teams I think will score 30.
Okay.
I think so. 30, at least 30-40. I think that's
all right.
I think that's respectable for both teams.
Okay. High scoring, high excitement.
Knowing the caliber of both of those offenses.
Okay. Man, now we got
Colts Packers.
Colts have been to the stadium more. Play there every year.
Yeah.
Packers have the experience. In my opinion, the 2 best quarterbacks in the league going at it.
Okay.
For the future. I wouldn't put Andrew Luck ahead of Brady right now.
And I wouldn't put him ahead of Rodgers either.
Absolutely not ahead of Rodgers. Rodgers is best, in my opinion, right now.
For the future.
No. Right now, Rodgers is the best. And for the future, Rodgers is the best. Next 5 years, Rodgers the best.
Yeah.
Next 5 years, Luck second best, in my opinion. Brady's going to get older.
A little biased, but
A little biased, but at least top 3-4 quarterback going forward.
Okay.
But to the broken hearts of me and millions of Colts fans,
we agree.
I have the Packers winning the Super Bowl.
Look at that. I don't think we've ever agreed on a title.
I have the Packers.
You have the Raiders winning a game.
Yep. I have the Packers winning 34 to 23.
What was that?
Luck throws 2 touchdowns, but he also has 2 picks. Yeah. It's a decent game.
34-23.
It's not enough to get over. Yep. Clay Matthews has a pick 6.
That's a big. Yep.
That's the key point in the fourth quarter.
He'll probably win
27-23.
And with that,
Matthews with the pick 6
and wins MVP.
An MVP toss up between he and Rodgers. That's what I'm going with.
Good list.
But let me add. But with that, the experience that the Colts gain in that game, the next season.
Here we go. Next season. This hypothetical.
Oh man, are they gonna be good?
This fanfic team.
They are going to be 14-2. They're gonna win the Super Bowl. No question. Luck has one of the best playoff runs you see. 16 touchdowns in 3 games. 3 games. 16 touchdowns in 3 games. Only 4 picks. Substantial MVP. T.Y. is just out there dancing. Blowout almost every single game.
Can we stop this?
The only game they lose is 1 to the Pats and 1 when they're resting players. but easily win all the rest.
Can we make it to where the team that they were resting players against was the Raiders, and that's what got them to the playoffs?
That is fine. That is fine by me. The Raiders make it 2 years in a row. They make the playoffs.
But no, they didn't. I tried.
But in a total obliteration of the rest of the league, the Indianapolis Colts just. Man, I can feel it.
You heard it here first. This is the hypothetical. What do we even call this?
Give me a second.
The season picks. Oh gosh, are you drawing a picture? Oh, Colts. Stop it. Colts. Is that 2016 or 17? Oh, 18. It would be 18. That's
18.
Here.
Super Bowl. Right there. There it is. Bad handwriting at all.
If they can see that, I don't think.
Boom.
Stop it. There it is.
That's it. That's out.
All right, we're back. Oh, we had to take another bathroom break. The handcrafted beverages, please do. Went through me just a little quick. You know, and also some water. You know, good to get some water in there. Cleaned it up a little bit, like we do every show. But the final topic we're going to discuss.
Colts 2018.
We are not discussing the sports anymore.
Oh, we're not?
We're going back to gaming.
Oh.
Going to our roots.
Madden Colts 2018.
We did top 5 best games before 2000. And that's taking it back to some, you know, when gaming was, you know, still starting to grow into the industry we know today. You had the giants like Nintendo becoming even more of a giant. You had the new guys, Sony, stepping in the picture. Then you even had the Dreamcast.
Yep.
PC was a different monster. Arcades were still around. So you have some games that are really like, you have some consoles, you have some platforms, you have some developers, and you have some games just in general that were different.
Absolutely.
And iconic almost.
Yep.
Because of for their time and even now. So I have some honorable mentions. You have some honorable mentions, and then we both have top 5. My list is different. I did my honorable mentions were ones that like you have to acknowledge for what they were because of what they did for gaming today. And then my top 5 are not only that, but they're games that stand the test of time, are still good today. Because, you know, you look at games like Final Fantasy VII. Doesn't look good today.
Right.
Does not look good at all. There's some other games that really don't hold up in the transition. So, my honorable mentions, I'll go first, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
With honorable mentions. I have NBA Jam.
Oh, great game.
Street Fighter 2. It was the original fighting game.
Yep.
Ocarina of Time, the original 3D open world game.
No good. Water Temple bad.
Tetris.
Classic.
Sold
of the first.
Sold the Game Boy. And Wolfenstein 3D for being the original first person shooter.
Yep.
Okay,
for me, some of my honorable mentions kind of go along with yours, but kind of just more of my favorites that didn't make the list. So, absolutely, Ocarina of Time. I think there's no doubt.
You have to.
It has to be recognized.
You have to acknowledge what it did for
what
gaming.
it did. Then, a little lesser talked about, but honestly, we can talk about both. For me, Crash Team Racing, I was a Sony guy, and it was the first, like, kart game that I got way into. Mm-hmm. And it was super fun.
Avery says the same thing.
It's so good. But, once again, you can't really talk about CTR without mentioning Mario Kart. The first to get big cast of characters together and just
big cast of known characters.
Super fun kart racing with crazy items and crazy tracks. 2 great games, 2 great kart racers. You'll have a blast. Next up, I have Spyro the Dragon, number 2, Ripto's Rage.
You were going to put 3.
I was going to put 3. It just missed the cut. It was actually made in October of 2000. Released in October of 2000. Yeah. But Ripto's Rage, almost as good. Great level design. Funny characters. Money bags. We're looking at you, Caleb. Grumpy bags. great character. You really, as a kid, you really just enjoyed having fun, and it's just a fun game. And Spyro was awesome, and that's about all you can say about that. Great game. And then another game. I just thought of this. I didn't really have it on there, but a game that I didn't play a whole lot when it was out or when it was new, but played it in the later years. And you can't deny the couch factor, the fun factor of GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, yeah,
Great
of
game,
course, yeah.
Super fun. Not much you can say about it. So those are my big honorable mentions right there. I'm sure there's some I'm forgetting.
Of course.
Kind of strung it together. But those are three that really come off the top of my head.
And like I said, my top 5 also are ones that stand the test of time, but also are like my personal bias.
See, mine are all my favorites, so...
Okay. We'll do one at a time.
Okay.
My number
5.
My number 5 is one I actually didn't play until this year. Metal Gear Solid 1.
Okay.
Great gameplay. I mean, it's for a stealth game. It really stands the test of time as a fun stealth game. Secrets like being able to skip parts of the levels because you can get in a box in a truck and you'll skip parts of the level. It would be like a warp. Right. Great characters. All the members of Foxhound are super cool. People think of the Psycho Mantis fight as one of the big standouts. You had the sniper fight. You had the fight in the freezer with a guy with a machine gun, and you had to like steer missiles around to hit him in the back, and then you'd also put mines on the walls and you'd walk into those. It was so cool, and it was before the game really got over the top. It just had that Kojima like craziness. It was kind of wonky, had some like twists and turns, but it was just cool enough and not over the top enough for it to be like really stand the test of time. I think it's better than Metal Gear Solid 2. A lot of people would like hate me for that because a lot of people say it's like a revolutionary game, but I didn't like Raiden, and that's what it comes down to. If you like Raiden, then you like 2.
Okay, for me, number 5, Gran Turismo. Revolutionary game. The original Gran Turismo.
Okay.
One of the... It was the grandfather, the king of racing simulators, driving simulators, really. And it was super fun. At the time, it was mostly their own handmade tracks, original tracks that they made. Of course, as it's progressing in the future, they've got real life tracks. That's what people want now.
Shoutouts to Daytona.
Shoutouts to Brickyard.
Shoutouts to
the Indy 500. But yeah, Gran Turismo. It had American cars, it had European cars, it had Japanese cars. You got to know...
It had a massive number of cars at the time.
It had a bunch of cars at the time. It had a bunch of paint schemes. It had great music. Just a great game if you're into racing, driving simulators. Awesome game. Revolutionary for me.
Mine is, I hate to cheat, 3 games.
Okay, that's fine.
But they all go together.
Okay.
It's Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. They are still to this day the largest games based on like how many gyms are.
Right.
Had Johto and Kanto. You had both gens. You had Gen 1 and 2 as collectible Pokemon. You had your fights against the Elite Four. You had your fights against Red. You had Gary as Blue as he was in the games.
Shout out to Gary.
I saw him today.
Did you really?
Yeah, it was a graduation.
He still drives a bus?
No, I thought you meant Gary Mizek.
No.
Gary Atkins
is who I'm talking about.
Oh.
As in
Capri Sun.
Nice hat.
Here's a Capri
Here's
Sun.
a Capri Sun.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Gary Oak replaced Giovanni. It was just cool. And then you had the travel. You had the legendary dogs that ran around, random encounters. You had your Lapras encounter. You had your Red Gyarados encounters. First time you could be a girl.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. And then Crystal, as most of the like the .5 games as I call them, like Yellow, Crystal, Emerald, as they do, it added the Suicune tail, which was really cool. It developed that Pokemon even more. And it's an RPG that still stands the test of time, and like it's a good first RPG for people, but yet it still has some depth.
Right.
So yeah,
Can't wait for Pokemon Sun and Moon. Looks so good.
looks awesome.
Super excited. My number 4 is Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate.
3 Ultimate, okay.
3 Ultimate.
A lot of people pick 2.
A lot of people would pick 2. 2 was not the first I played. The first I played was 3. Probably as a kid, way too young to be playing it.
And a lot of people would put 1 there, but 1 is actually really bad.
I hate 1.
You and I used to disagree about that. I am totally in agreement.
It's not fun.
1 is not fun.
It's not fun. There weren't combos. It just no, not good. It was revolutionary in the gore sense and the fatalities, but that was it. 2 was good after going back and playing 2, but for me, the game that I played the most at arcades and
In the
River
console.
Falls Mall.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
taking me
going
back. I was thinking about the River Falls Mall the other day.
Oh, such a good place.
With the do you remember the motion thing that was in the
And the
middle?
little like airplane things that went up and down.
And then you had the theater, and then you also had the food court, and then the mini golf course.
They should not have got rid of that for Bass Pro Shop. Although Bass Pro Shop is great too. They should have just added. They should have had both. Such good places.
I think it was just like a testament to to mall culture.
But-
Malls are really dying.
Yeah, that's true. But anyway, Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate, it had a big roster of characters. It had all the ninjas, which MK3, the original, didn't. It got rid of Scorpion. It got rid of Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Ermac. There were no ninjas. The only ninja that was there was Sub-Zero in his human skin.
Human form, yeah.
So that obviously was a no-go. But bringing it back, 3 Ultimate, I played it so much. Motaro killed me so much. You basically had to use Noob or Sub-Zero to beat it on the hard difficulties. Such a great game, and it's Mortal Kombat has revolutionized fighting for me because it's my favorite fighter. Even though it's not the most technical, but I think it's the most fun. It's got a pretty okay story.
Nice diversity of characters outside of
Lots
the
of
ninjas.
characters, and even continuing on that they've added a lot of new characters that work and are cool. But for me, MK3 Ultimate before 2000, great game.
I wonder what they did with all the stuff that was at the River Falls Mall.
They probably just like sold it in like an auction.
Yeah, probably. That or it went into storage.
Yeah, or it went to another mall or another arcade.
I want to spend some time figuring out what happened.
Yeah, we should try to find that.
Especially like the planes. Imagine having that in your backyard.
They had and didn't they have the little like the bumper cars, didn't they? Didn't they have like little like not like you got into it,
But you
like
controlled it. Yeah, they were like race cars that
Right.
had that track. It was also right there by the it was right there by
That was so
the
good.
food court.
Yeah,
it separated the food.
We do need to find out. Man, that's good times right there.
That's
That is
bad.
good times.
I remember telling mom to take me there all the time, but then like none of the stores. Like I can't think of what stores were actually there except Dillard's.
They had Dillard's and Sam Goody Music, maybe.
Yep, Sam Goody was there.
I think that was like it.
Well, no, Sam Goody was at Green Tree.
Yeah. So they had a music store. I don't remember what it was.
I couldn't think of a single store
And,
that's there.
and they had a pet store. They did have a pet store.
Yeah, I remember that too. Number 3, a game that I actually started playing through recently. Again, after beating it as a kid, Yoshi's Island.
Ah,
Graphics really hold up. It's one of those where the graphics at the time were like, this is kind of like coloring book-esque. Where's Mario? Like,
right.
Mario's a baby. You play as Yoshi. Why is this a Mario game? But it could be one of the best Mario games ever, period. Because it is titled a Mario game.
Mm-hmm.
It plays so well. It has speedrun capabilities. Everyone knows Trihex. Trihex has great runs of the game. You can 100% the game and have extra content. The bosses are just so good. That final boss with the large eggs, you can't deny how cool that was at the time. Use the mode set, or was not mode 7, but the FX chip. It used the same graphics as the Star Fox engine, so like it kind of made that cool, made the graphics really really awesome. And it also spawned like the graphic style for Tetris Attack, which is another amazing game. Shoutouts to Tetris Attack. So yeah, I think that's one that has to be mentioned.
Great game. Okay, for me, we're getting second Sony exclusive. Grew up a Sony kid with a little bit of Nintendo. Well, actually with a lot of Nintendo, but just not in 64.
I'm trying to think what this would be. Oh yeah, I think I know.
Crash Warped.
Crash Warped, yep.
Crash Warped.
I honestly thought it was gonna be 2.
It's the third Crash. Such a good game. One of the great platforming games, and Crash as a character, just great, funny, cool. You get more superpowers in this one with the bazooka and the running, and there's more in game because when you get the running, you can do the time trials, and then there's the secret area, and there's 2 secret spots in levels. So much to do, so many good levels, and it's like themed levels. So like
it was based around time travel.
Yeah,
correct?
Based on time travel. So one place would take place in like ancient China, and there's like dragons, like the waving dragons coming around, and then another place would take place in like ancient Egypt, and it was tombs, and so cool. The bosses were fun. It was the first time you got to play as Coco. Not fully, you got to ride on the little tiger, but it was still fun. Great game, played it so much. I actually just played it recently again.
This holds up?
Oh, it holds up. Great. Totally holds up. Probably the best Crash game. Yeah, definitely the best Crash game. Even more so than the PS2 one. As good as the PS2 one is.
Which one?
I think it's Wrath of Cortex.
Okay, yeah.
But
was that wasn't done by Naughty Dog, was it?
No, it was by the Travelers people, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, Crash 3, Warped, great game. Fun, cool.
He was a mascot for the 90s, too.
Mascot for the 90s. Surprisingly, good graphics. Graphics don't necessarily hold up, but what games really do have graphics like that style game that holds up?
A lot of PS1 games really don't hold up that well. I mean, even like I go back to Metal Gear Solid 1, the graphics aren't the best, but I think like they did the best of what they could.
Yeah.
And they made the characters as alive as they could.
But yeah.
Mine is a little more biased, but it's different. Super Smash Brothers 64.
Okay.
I think I mainly put this on this list because it still has an active community. I mean, like, there's tournaments that are still getting 100 to 200 people for a game that's
almost 20 years old.
Yeah, almost 20 years old. Like, and it has depth. It has some very, 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 very crazy combos. Watching some of the characters play,
Some of the zero to deaths
are really broken, and a lot of people who are first experiencing the competitive scene are just like, wow, that's... And while it may be the lowest cast for a Smash game, I think
still a great cast.
And I think it works in its favor because, like, it has a unique variety of characters. I think there's only one heavy character in DK. All of them work differently, except for, like, Mario and Luigi, which, you know...
Right, they're just gonna work the same.
They're gonna work pretty similar. But, like... And I think it's a fun party game. I think it still holds up. It still plays really well. But then watching the competitive scene, you're just like, holy crap.
Right.
This is... And it's totally different from all the other Smash games because it had Z canceling, which is like L canceling, but it canceled all lag.
Yeah.
So, like, the shield pressure was just absurd, and shield stun was ridiculous. So broken shields are pretty common. So, like, you think, like, in today's Smash, you're like, oh, broken shield, I never see that. But in, like, the 64, that was like almost once every other
Yeah.
game occurrence. So it was cool. Great. Great characters. I mean, like Captain Falcon was kind of like not well known. Ness wasn't
Right.
the most known.
But they got known off of that game.
Yep, and that continued to work for the series. I mean, Martha and Roy. Also, shout outs to a guy named Jorgasms. He's a friend of mine in the Indiana community. He's the one who does the, if I'm correct, 19XX hack pack. So it's like the 20XX hack pack.
Yeah.
Where it's, but for 64. And it's, it mods it to where you can play on Battlefield, play on Final Destination.
That's so good.
For 64.
Oh, that's so good.
So it's cool.
Right.
And Metal Caverns. Metal Caverns was a cool stage, but you could only play on the Metal Mario stage,
Right.
and it made that a playable stage. So, if I'm correct, shout-outs to Jorgasms for doing that. I've seen his work. He posts on Smash Forwards. He posts whenever he does updates.
Right.
So, yeah. I thought that's worthy of the number 2 spot. Definitely.
Okay, for me, I went back and forth on this, but at number 2,
I think I know what your number 1 or 2 is going to be.
I
but
have Donkey Kong Country
Country
2,
2.
Diddy Kong's Conquest.
That's what I almost expected you to put.
So good. Such a great game. It's the first game with Dixie, so you got to fly around. That was awesome. With Donkey Kong, he was just slow and big and
Took some extra hits,
yeah,
but
Donkey Kong 1, okay. Not anywhere close to Donkey Kong 2. The levels, it was pirate themed at first, and then it branched off and it got more crazy, and then you even got into like roller coaster levels where you control the roller coaster carts against Kremlins, and you had giant bee bosses, and you got to use the buddies more, and all the buddies were awesome. There was a whole level where you got to use almost all the buddies. The bosses were great. The music, great. Some of the best music in video games ever. I forget exactly the name of the song, but it's the first Bramble level. Might be the second Bramble level, too. That music, so good. Probably one of my favorite themes from any game ever. The graphics hold up because it was 2D, but it was super colorful and crisp, and there weren't a whole lot of like game-breaking glitches. Obviously, there's glitches that you can find to do stuff, but there wasn't much on it.
it was just a skill base.
It was a lot. It was skill based. It wasn't too difficult. As a kid, you could play it, but you couldn't. Once you get older, you can master it. Such a good game.
And you mentioned 2 being the best, 3 being eh. What do you put 3 or 2, 1 being eh?
3 is better than 1 in my opinion.
Okay.
3 was really good too. It continued on the gameplay of 2. It didn't quite have the levels that 2 had. The bosses were a little more intricate. You had to do specific stuff. It wasn't just, hit this boss on its weak spot. Like, you had to like bounce bugs off a barrel and then get it into the mouth of a big barrel, and then that would blow him back and stuff like that. So the bosses were more intricate. The level design wasn't quite there, in my opinion. The music was great, but not quite as good. 3 is below 2, but
2
still really good. 2 is my second favorite game before 2000.
And also, the series is still continued through Retro Studios. Donkey Kong Country Returns,
Which is great.
for the Wii. You're replaying that at Gunners. Oh, it's so good. And then Tropical Freeze, for those who have picked it up, I've heard astounding things
Same
about
here.
it. My number 1, you should expect it, is Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Best RPG, in my opinion, period. Graphics that hold up, especially for those who love Dragon Ball Z. The art was done by the artist of Dragon Ball Z. Story that holds up, period. It is a time travel story. Another one like Warped, but time travel in a different aspect because it has past and future.
Right.
Revolutionary for the time because it predicted the end of the universe. The game came out in, I think, 94, roughly 94, 95, and at one point, Lavos, the main villain, predicts the end of the world at 90, or destroys the world in 96. And I was like,
Right.
characters that are amazing, like Frog. Frog is I don't want to spoil it, but Frog has a great backstory. Robo, who's like considered one of the best robots in gaming, period. Megas, who is like the villain, but you can recruit him to your team, and like you help him work for you. The port to the DS is the one I have. Well, I've bought twice, and I need to buy a third time. But it's a game that just like has, and the battle system where you have like team attacks, and like it's the active battle system that Square was really big for the 90s. The bar fills up, and once it fills up, and you can attack. And once they're both filled up, then you can do dual attacks, you can do triple attacks. I can talk.
Yeah.
Music, you talked about music. This may be one of the games that has one of the best soundtracks, period. I can go on. And the side bosses, the weapons, the upgrading. You go, and then if you get the DS remaster that has the PlayStation cutscenes that was like animated to look like Dragon Ball Z. I can't stop.
Still need to play it.
I know you do. It's sad. Number one,
for me, similar to yours, Square Enix involved. Super Mario RPG and The Legend of the Seven Stars. Such a good game. Graphics, one of the first games to try graphics like that with 3D top-down graphics. The characters were great. You had Mario, you had Mallow, Peach, you got to use Bowser later on.
first time in a game
And we can't forget an iconic character,
for the series.
Geno.
Only time you ever see him.
Only
though.
time you see him. That game. Great story. Great level design. Great music. The town hubs, you could spend all day in there just talking to the toads for no reason. Just listening to the music. Just walking around.
It was the first Mario RPG where it had great writing as well.
Yeah. The writing, spectacular. There's twists at the end. Optional bosses. One of the hardest optional bosses, I think, ever.
Well, besides maybe Kingdom Hearts Final Mix 2.
Well, yeah.
You really could.
Yeah, like there's just
References
there's so
to the
much
Power
to say.
Rangers.
References to Power Rangers with that boss. That's one of the best bosses ever.
References to other games too, because Samus is in it, Link
Yeah.
is in it, sleeping.
And the RPG fighting. Like, that was the first RPG I played, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Even as a little kid, like, I got it. Like, I got how to play it. I got what to do. I got what the items did. It wasn't hard to play, but it was still hard later on. Such a good game. Like I said, I could probably go on for a long time about the music and the level design and the gameplay and the story and the characters and all the things you can do. Great game.
Who would have thought?
Funny game too. Funny. One boss in particular, fairly early on, really funny. Great game.
Who would have
And it
thought?
holds up.
Who would have thought that Mario would have been an RPG star like that?
That's the big thing. Because almost all of my favorite Mario games are RPGs. Paper Mario,
Thousand Year Door.
Thousand Year Door, Superstar Saga,
Inside Story.
Inside Story, Dream Team, all so good. But the one that started it all, Legend of the Seven Stars, such a good game. Great.
And it's hard. I mean, we were raised on different games, and we played different games, and we played. It's odd that neither one of us had none of our top five matched.
Right. Even though we played
A lot of the same games.
but a lot of different too.
And we were raised on different games too. I mean, I never had any of the Donkey Kong Countries for console. I had Donkey Kong Land,
Right.
which was, the Game Boy versions. So I played those. and now I'm big into Smash. I got into a little bit deeper turn-based RPGs. You were more of the active RPGs as we got older, especially with like Monster Hunter, things like that.
Oh, such a good game. It's coming out in July. Generations. Go buy it.
So I think that's another cool thing about gaming is like everyone has their different roots.
Yeah.
Everyone has their different starts. Everyone has their different progressions as a gamer.
Different favorites. Just all. There's so many games that anyone can pick up, like or love, and it just change your life. Really, some of the games.
See, and we didn't even reference like other than like honorable mentions, like our favorite like PC games. You got.
I never.
Yeah, and same here.
Yeah.
And then you have other people like Avery, who's
Right.
big into
That's
Diablo.
all- right. Gunner.
Avery, Gunner, Anthony, all played Diablo a lot.
Yep.
And then you look at, I don't think any of our friends, but you look at people who played Genesis games, like you look at Strider,
Right.
which won the Game of the Year in '91, I think. You have Sonic 3 and Knuckles, maybe one of the first console games with an add-on.
Yeah.
Genius. Work done by Michael Jackson did the soundtrack, or helped on the soundtrack. So you had those. You had trying to think of other. Dreamcast was even better, had even better like Shenmue.
Yeah.
And you had some Saturn games that were really impressive. I mean there are all, and then you have arcades. I mean you got to think about like Galaga.
Right.
You got to think about Miss Pac-Man. Got to think about Pong. Those are games that really like. It's atypical to mention those, but you have to because like of
The
what
original Donkey Kong.
oh my gosh, the original Donkey Kong, Mario Brothers,
All the racing games with the steering wheel.
like Daytona USA.
Yeah.
I mean, you even go in. You mentioned some fighting games. You mentioned, and then you have like Marvel 2, and you have all like of that Capcom fighting style.
Right.
You even have like the rail shooters like Time Splitters, and yet House of the Dead, or House of the Dead or House of the Damned.
I think did.
House of the Dead, yep. Because they had Typing of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a lot. I think gaming is cool because you may have some crossover, but everyone's had their different path in
Right.
games. So yeah, we've covered a lot. Talked about a lot of topics. Anything else you want to talk about?
Any 2018?
Yeah, well, that'll continue to be the trend. I'm surprised that let's hope that's in your bio for.
I might have to change it. Yeah. Twitter bio. Colts 2018.
Did I give a shout out to the class of 2016 earlier?
You did not.
Shout outs to all the graduating class of 2016. But today I was at the graduating class of Salem High School, class of 2016. My brother was in it. Congrats to you guys, especially my brother. We're all proud of you. So yeah, I really just wanted to give a shout out to that. I was reminiscing on graduation, so it was cool to see some people I knew and
Right.
watch some people I knew step into that next step of life. So yeah, we
Covered a lot.
a lot. A lot of different
fun.
Had some fun. A lot of different variety. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'm glad we got to enjoy some nice beverages. So it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
I'm
Thanks for having me.
I'm Dylan St. Clair, and that's Buds Aplenty episode 2.
Colts 2018, baby.